Well, folks, as you can see, we are back here at West Overton, and I couldn't be more excited for today's show. The last time we were here, if you remember, Aaron took us through and showed us a new exhibit that the museum had. But today's show isn't about a new exhibit, it's about a whole new floor. Hi, welcome to Around the Town with Marilyn Forbes. It's been many years in the making, but they finally opened up the second floor here at the museum. I'm not going to tell you too much about it because I want you to watch the show, but more importantly, I want you to come and check it out for yourself. So please, folks, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Well, folks, as promised, we are back here at West Overton, and we have with us Aaron. Aaron, thank you so much for being back with us again.
Well, thank you for being back with me.
And I'm really excited because, as I said at the beginning, we not only have a new exhibit, but we have a whole new floor.
A whole new floor.
Okay, you want to tell us about that real quick before we go
up? Yeah, sure.
up?
So the floor is a recently renovated floor of our museum. It's a floor that was open to the public for a long time. We closed it, and now we're reopening it. The whole floor is called the James B. Beam Pennsylvania Whiskey Heritage Center, and it's just a celebration of Pennsylvania's whiskey industry, both past and present and future.
Okay, now before we go up, what was up there before? Was it just regular museum pieces and stuff that you could walk through, or what was there before? Okay,
yes,
so just like a basic.
If folks have been here a long time ago, they might remember just walking among aisles of different artifacts from different parts of Westmoreland and Fayette County's history.
Okay.
You name it, we had it up there at one time.
And it's a lot different now. You ready to go up?
I'm ready, let's go.
All right, come on, folks. Okay, it's our first stop?
Yes.
Okay.
This room is sort of the crown jewel of the entire Heritage Center. And this room is called the Sam Komlenic Gallery. It's named after Sam Komlenic. He's a member of our board of directors and the donor of the majority of the objects you're going to see in this room.
Okay.
So this room is the largest publicly displayed collection of Pennsylvania whiskey history anywhere.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Yes. In this entire room, there are more than 450 artifacts represented. In front of us here, we have a wall that we've made to look like a wall of stacked crates. And you're sort of able to peer into some of the crates that are open to us with different display cases. This is a loose timeline of Pennsylvania's whiskey history from the time of the Whiskey Rebellion, 1790s, all the way up until the end of the industry around 1990. And it's craft revival today. We end with 2020 with West Overton Distilling, where we make our own whiskey on site today.
Oh, boy, can I touch buttons?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Oh boy. I'm always so happy. Oh, see, there he goes. This is.
Yeah, anywhere you see the green sticker, you're allowed to touch.
Now, this is from someplace in Ruffstill.
Yes. This is Dillinger. It looks like John Dillinger, but it's pronounced Dillinger. And this was the distillery that was in Ruffstill. The building of that distillery is still there. And that's the area that Sam was from, so a huge part of his collection was Dillinger artifacts.
Really?
So
okay.
He had donated the crates, plenty of bottles, advertisements, and things like playing cards, stirring sticks, shot glasses, all kinds of memorabilia from the 1940s, 50s, and that kind of time period.
Okay. Here's another. I can touch these two? These are the same thing? Okay. Okay. Now, this is from Pittsburgh? Did I see that right when it went through?
Yes. So large is not called large because it was big. Large was the name of a family, John and then Henry Large. Their distillery was in what is today Jefferson Hills. The buildings from that distillery are still right along Route 51. And it was one of the last distilleries in our area to close in the 1950s.
Oh, this is from down in Connellsville area, right?
Yes. So that is Overholt. That's a brand that was founded here essentially in 1810, and in the 1850s branched out to an area called Broad Ford along the Yawk River near Connellsville. And yes, that's a crate that came from that distillery.
The photos are awesome too. These are really
those are of the large distillery that connects to that.
Oh, that's
top
the
crate.
large. Oh, okay.
Yes, these are right around 1950. These are donated to us by a descendant of one of the last distillers who worked at that distillery.
Now,
Those
I think
are original photos.
It's interesting how you have just a little bit enough to let people know that how popular this was in one day. Then all of a sudden, Prohibition hit and.
Yes, this was a real bona fide large industry, especially before Prohibition, and it fizzled out in 1990. And we had a lot of conversations about how we tell that story. And we landed on a strategy that's very high level. We didn't want to get too far into the depths with this because we're telling such a broad story.
Right.
So along the way on the crate wall, you'll find just a couple sentences here and there that just kind of connect you to a period of time. So this one in front of us here, by 1935, fewer than 15 Pennsylvania distilleries were in operation, including that Overholt Broadford distillery, just to help orient us along the way to track this rise and fall of what once was a world-renowned style of whiskey made here in Pennsylvania.
Crazy. Okay, and now we have over here, this is very interesting.
Yeah, this is really something that you will see nowhere else in the world.
Now this is also, these are part of the collection from Sam.
Correct.
And how long did it take him to,
well,
I mean, there's a lot here.
Yeah, he started his collection, I think he would say about 50 years ago.
Okay.
But really, in earnest, the last 20, 25 years he had been collecting. And this is, the majority of these objects were from Sam. We had a few in our collection already, and we've picked up a few along the way from other donors as well. But this is a wall of bottles, and all of these bottles came from basically a Pennsylvania distillery from the late 1800s all the way up and through the late 1980s, right around 1990, when Pennsylvania's last distillery in those days, called Michter's, closed. This wall has about 265 or so whiskey bottles on it. There are, I think, 40 or so distilleries represented on this wall.
I was literally going to ask you that, okay.
Yeah, around 1900, Pennsylvania had 73 whiskey distilleries. You would never know that just by looking around at what we have left from them, because it's very, very little. But like I said, this was a world-renowned industry here in Pennsylvania, and we are just representing a snippet, a clip of that entire industry. And it's exciting because the history of it, we're still uncovering it. There's not been much published about this. We're all actively trying to discover and research all of these distilleries together.
That's Aaron actually said something interesting when we were talking prior. We were just talking about the different bottles and the different dates and everything, and he said that unfortunately a lot of the information is gone forever because when Prohibition hit, it was just so anti-alcohol that they literally destroyed records that can never be found again.
Yes, yes, and we're left sort of trying to piece together little bits and pieces from different sources to figure out, even just to date these bottles. And just to peek behind the curtain, we had a lot of conversations about how do we organize all of these bottles? Dozens of distilleries, hundreds of bottles, and we tried to land on a system that is alphabetical by distillery name.
Oh, okay.
But even that's tricky because distillery names changed. A label might have been produced by two different distilleries across time, and so you might see one label on the left side, but then it might appear again on the right side. So we made some exceptions to that. But one of the ways that it came up was chronological.
Okay.
But that's impossible for us. You know, we just don't know enough about all these distilleries and their products to say what year some of these were from. Some of them were lucky, like the Overholt bottles on the top shelf here, made 1910. Pretty easy to date that.
I was going to say, there we go.
That one we got. But other ones with very, very little information, it's a lot more difficult.
Now you said over 50 bottles on here, on display are from here, are from Overholt, correct?
Are from Overholt,
Okay.
yes, more than 50.
So that's interesting. Like, if you folks notice, like, that's how different they are, because this is them here, correct?
Correct, yeah, those are all Overholt from the top left in front of you to right here. They're all Overholt products from about the 1870s up and through the mid-1900s.
Something else cool that I hope people notice, or I'm going to point out so they do notice,
Sure.
is the wall here behind us.
So Sam had a literal binder. I imagine like a kid would have baseball cards. He had whiskey labels. And these were labels that never made it to a bottle. They were printed, and he picked them up, collected them over the years. And we had a volunteer scan every single one of those. So we have hundreds of these labels scanned, and we sort of put them together like a puzzle, made it into a vinyl wrap, and put them up here on the wall, because a lot of these labels are visually striking. You know, they're beautiful, different colors, styles, designs. This is representative of the time when branding started to take shape as we know it. So here we see these distilleries utilizing branding, colors, logos, fonts, styles to try to grab the attention of the consumer, so consumers pick out their bottle on the shelf and not somebody else's. Historically, in the mid-1800s, that did not exist.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the way that this whiskey was shipped, purchased, was completely different, and we can talk at length about that. But this is representative of a time when you could start going to the store and buying the product.
I have to point out, $12 a case.
Yes, yes.
That was from a long time ago.
It was. Yes, it was.
Okay, now out of all of the bottles that you have here, what is the most special?
Yeah, so we actually walked by it as we
okay.
came in here. Yeah, oddly enough, it's one that's not even in the gallery.
Okay.
And it's one that was part of West Overton's collection. I don't know how we got this bottle. Maybe someone out there watching this will say, I gave that to you, because I honestly don't know. It's a bottle out there in a special case. It is a blend of whiskey from Overholt and from Gibson. Oh. And Gibson, at one point, which is, by the way, was near like Menneson, Bell Vernon, was the largest rye whiskey distillery in the world.
Oh,
and
really?
So yes. It's a blend. It was bottled 1914. It's 21 years old, and it's a full bottle of whiskey. And I have never seen anything else like it ever.
Wow.
Yeah. So that is probably the rarest, without really digging into this, that's probably the rarest bottle we have.
Oh, awesome. Okay. All right. So are we ready to venture into another part of the new upstairs?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
let's do it.
Stay with us. Okay, folks, right off the gallery, we are in the...
Yes. So this is a seating area that we have here.
Okay.
It doesn't quite have a name, and I'll tell you why in a moment.
Okay.
But this is an area where we hope visitors can just spend some time. We have some books over here on the shelf of different topics from the museum history. They'll find books about industry, books about coal and coke. They'll find books about whiskey, about Pennsylvania, local history. And we hope the visitors would just make a coffee, have a seat, and just spend some time with us reading one of our books.
Oh, wonderful.
And currently we're trying to raise money for an elevator.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so our visitors can go from the lower level where we have events to the museum floor where we have our exhibit down there, and then up here to the Heritage Center as well. Okay. So we're hoping that the elevator shaft can be built inside of the grain bin, and then where these paintings and photographs are will be the elevator door for visitors to come out and explore the Heritage Center.
So like approximately like right here. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's the hope for this space long term, but we wanted to make it useful in the meantime.
Oh, that makes sense, sure. And also, too, there's a couple pictures in here that you don't know who they are. So if any of you folks recognize any of these people in these pictures, let her know. I'm sure they would be great. They would be happy to get the information.
Yeah, that's great, Aunt Gertrude. We'd love to know about her. That's for sure.
Okay, so next we have this room over here, which I'm super excited. But right now it's closed off, and this is what people will see most of the time when they come. Is that correct?
That's correct.
You want to explain to us?
Sure. So right now we're trying to recruit more volunteers, and with our current capacity, we cannot have this room I'm about to tell you about open to the public. So West Overton's been a museum for 96 years. We have a lot of stuff, and we have a lot of artifacts that are not related to whiskey. And this is the first time that we've been able to make a room that is climate controlled. So our artifacts in here are safe, but we're always trying to make new experiences. So when we're able, visitors will be able to go inside and actually get up close and more personal to these artifacts. So it's sort of a hybrid of a collection storage, but also a new exhibit.
Awesome.
So typically visitors can't go inside here, but we have a little treat for you. So we are going to open the door and take a look inside, all right?
Okay, all right. I'm ready. Oh boy. Now this is interesting. Oh, there's Jasper.
There's Jasper. If anyone's ever been here ever, they remember our two-headed calf. And I'm not exaggerating. I talked to a woman who had to be in her 80s, and she came here in the first grade, and she said, "Do you still have that two-headed calf?"
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Anyone who's ever been here ever, forget whiskey, forget anything else, forget Frick. Most famous artifact right here is Jasper the two-headed calf.
That's awesome. And you still have him. Prominently displayed.
Yes, prominently displayed as he or they should be. And he's actually on one of our whiskey labels.
Yes,
we have a whiskey called Jasper
I remember that
Stash.
whenever we did your whiskey show, yep.
Yes, so this room is sort of a sampling of a lot of artifacts from our collection, especially those that are more fragile to the elements, to heat, changes of temperature, humidity. That is all carefully controlled in here.
Now, these are pieces from the Fox brothers.
Correct, yes.
Of tars.
Of tars,
okay.
Yes. John and David Fox, two brothers who spent decades carving many, many, many wooden pieces. A lot of them have poems or songs or Bible verses. And we're just now having the opportunity to reconnect with some of the descendants of these brothers. And we're talking about special displays, special events
Really?
related to it.
Awesome.
Yeah, those are, we're working on those.
Okay, so just then, as you said, though, this is just like a miscellaneous collection of a bunch of different cool stuff.
You know, in front of us here, we have anything from coal mining equipment to antique medical equipment. The needles especially freak me out. I had to put those in there. That was not a pleasant time. We have your salt and pepper shakers, antique porcelain, Japanese salt and pepper shakers. We have shoemaking tools, glass making equipment. Just, again, a sampling of all of the different things that we have in the collection. And then behind us, on the other side, we have different types of artifacts. So we have some spinning wheels and some agricultural tools up there on the wall. But really the best part here is in front of us. We have these coverlets. So we have probably a dozen or so of these coverlets in the museum's collection. Some are in boxes here, but we've also been able to display some. So again, they're safe and rolled up, but also visitors can see them. And the majority of the coverlets in front of us were woven by Henry O. Overholt, a nephew of our main Abraham Overholt, whose home we offer tours of across the street. Henry is one of the characters in our exhibit downstairs, and so is his weaving business. These are all original coverlets from the 1840s. We also have some quilts that were produced at the Scottdale Mennonite Church, I think in the 1920s.
Oh my, okay.
Yes, so again, just a little bit of a sampling of some of our textiles. We have things like saddles, other agricultural equipment. We have a couple organs. And of particular interest is the organ on the right. So if you can, the organ on the right. So if you can see there, Marilyn, can you make out the name of the...
I don't have my glasses on.
Okay.
What am I looking at?
We'll cheat. It says Scottdale Organ Company.
No, it says Scottdale Organ Company.
Yeah, well, actually, Scottdale Oregon is all it says.
Yeah, it does. That is all it says. That I can make out. So there actually was an organ company in Scottdale?
There was.
Really? Oh
There
my.
was. Yeah, I don't know much about it. Maybe somebody out there knows more than me. I think it was near the corner of Broadway and Pittsburgh. I could be wrong about that, but I personally know of only two of these. One is ours and one is at the Laux House of the Scottdale
really?
Historical Society.
Okay.
There could be one in somebody's home in town for all I know, but we're fortunate to have one of those from that company.
And these are so cool because I love the little attention to detail that they did back in the day. The craftsmanship is just lovely.
Yeah,
just add a little bit of something.
It wasn't just a square, rectangular box utilitarian. It definitely had some beauty to it.
Okay, we have a couple other interesting pieces. This is what every house needed back in the 30s, 50s?
Yes, somewhere in there. And as every 19th century historic site should have, we have our portable X-ray machine. Yeah, so I looked into it. As long as we're not plugging it in and trying to use it, it's completely safe.
Okay.
But you can imagine this rolling up to a dentist chair or a hospital bed and taking an X-ray.
It's like immense.
Yeah.
I'm not going to touch it. And as Aaron said, miscellaneous. We have a cool old wheelchair here. What every woman needs, an armadillo purse basket.
Yeah, you can sport that this fall season.
But
armadillo basket.
I think the funnest, and yes, I use the word funnest piece, is this. You want to tell us what this is?
Sure. I want to preface this by saying the provenance on this is very weak. So provenance is what museums use to basically track the history of an artifact from when it was in use through the time that the museum has it, basically. This chair is purportedly the chair in which Henry Clay Frick was sitting when a man named Alexander Berkman tried to assassinate him. And this was gifted to us in the late 1980s, and it was sort of a word of mouth thing that's its history, where it came from, and maybe somebody out there can also tell me a little bit more about this chair. But until I have the proof, I have to, and if you read the label there, it has the word purportedly on it because we just don't know for sure if that's where the chair actually came from.
I never even realized that there was an assassination attempt on his life, so that's pretty interesting.
Yes.
But this very well could be it, so cool. Alrighty, I guess we have a couple other rooms to check out.
Yeah, a couple other rooms to see in the Heritage Center.
All right, stay with us. Okay, so room number 4. Okay,
I'm glad you remember because I lost track.
Okay, does this one have a name?
This is our classroom.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, this is, right now it's called our classroom. This is a space where we can do a lot of education. And although we've been talking a lot about whiskey, we've actually already done field trips up here where the kids will do an activity related to one of the artifacts in the collections room. We actually did a program about the quilts that were made at the Scottdale Mennonite Church. Then the kids came in here, were seated, and they actually colored and drew their own little quilt block on paper. So that's an example of how we can do programs with kids up here without having to actually do anything with whiskey. But of course, we can do the whiskey thing too.
Sure.
So we had a program here recently. We did a vintage Pennsylvania rye whiskey tasting.
Okay.
And 21 very lucky people got to taste 6 whiskeys made in Pennsylvania between 1908 and the 1970s.
Oh, wow.
It was a fundraiser for the museum, but illustrates the multi-purpose capabilities of, yes, kids can be in here, but also so can adults. And this is a space that we rent out with another room I'm going to show you soon.
I was just going to say, and you can
Yes.
be here too, folks. Yes, this is really nice.
Yes. So we can rent this out for special events, and this is really versatile. So these tables and chairs can fold up, they can be removed, bring in new furniture. During our annual Whiskey Smash, we will have visitors, we will have distilleries in here actually serving samples and selling their whiskeys, selling bottles. And during that time, all of these sliding and pocket doors you see will be opened up so visitors can kind of flow freely from one room to the next. So really a multi-purpose room here.
Including that crazy red one there is going to be up there?
Yes, those repurposed factory fire doors will be opened up, and they just become one big flowing
So
room.
those aren't original to this?
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Correct. We found those, I think, at a salvage place in Pittsburgh somewhere. They came from a factory in the region, and we had a piece at the top custom made by a local blacksmith.
Oh, okay.
And it took a lot of work actually to get those doors in, but once we saw them, we couldn't pass them up.
All right, we have one more stop. As I said, what is this called?
The room we're about to see is called the Overholt Stateroom.
Oh, this is well worth the wait, folks. Stay with us.
So normal visiting hours, this is the view that visitors will get, but today we're gonna actually go inside.
Okay, let's go. Let's do it. This is so pretty. This is so pretty. So this is it. Tell us what we're looking at, and
we're very proud of this room.
You should
This
be.
is called the Overholt Stateroom, and this is a vintage-inspired bar lounge that is both a place to celebrate the Overholt brand, past and present, but it has a lot of different uses. So let me take a step back a second and kind of explain how this all has come to be. So the company, Suntory Global Spirits, that we would better know as Jim Beam, Suntory Global Spirits owns the Jim Beam brands. They have owned and produced the Overholt label brand since 1987. And if you look at the bottles of Overholt, you'll find that it says since 1810. That's because West Overton really is the spiritual home of this brand. It was Abraham Overholt himself, whose home is across the street from us, that began producing that whiskey and began, according to tax records, the earliest record we have was he was making whiskey in 1810. So that's where that comes from. So we're the spiritual home of that brand, and they, of course, are very invested in not only increasing the visibility and the sales of that brand, but also we've been the caretakers of its story for so long, and they're really interested in helping us to attract more visitors. So from my perspective, it's sort of they can elevate their brand and also to help us as well.
So you work
sort of
together.
It's a symbiotic kind of relationship. And that partnership is what has created the James B. Beam Pennsylvania Whiskey Heritage Center. So the folks at Suntory and their designers, they basically handcrafted the visuals of what you see here. So we wanted this to be a room that when you come inside, you say, man, I really want to drink a whiskey and smoke a cigar in here.
It's very, very vintage speakeasy.
Yes.
Upscale speakeasy
Yes.
feel. You know,
Yes.
this is wonderful.
And I need to say that whenever you think that you want to smoke a cigar and drink whiskey, you can do one of those two things in here. No smoking inside the building, obviously. We explored a collections room that is climate controlled, and so no smoking. But during normal museum hours, most of the time we're going to have this door closed and folks can just look inside.
Okay.
But during special events like the vintage whiskey tasting I mentioned to you, and certainly during our annual Whiskey Smash, this room will be open and buzzing. We'll be serving drinks across the bar. It's a fully functional bar back there. We'll be serving drinks. Folks will be hanging out in here, drinking cocktails. And so it just depends on what's going on here at the museum that will dictate whether or not this room is open. But this room is also a rentable space.
I was going to just say, tell us
as
you
well.
can rent it, yes.
Yeah, I don't want to get too far ahead of you, but folks can rent this out as well. And we actually do a lot of weddings here at West Overton. We do between 15 and 20 weddings a year.
Oh, wow. Oh, that is a lot. Oh, my. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, we're all tired by the end of November, absolutely. But this is a space where some of our clients have already rented it out. And they can have the guys get ready up here for the bridal party. They could do the rehearsal up here. They could do part of the cocktail hour up here, and they can rent this room or the classroom or both.
Because you said this actually opens up to where we were at before.
Yes, these pocket doors open into the classroom and just becomes one big room. So.
And you're saying that was like 25? That seats about 25?
Around 25, around 20 in here.
Okay.
Once everyone's at all the bar stools and the chairs. So, 45, 50 people that folks can rent out and make use of this space.
Okay, awesome. Well, Aaron, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for having us and the viewers here once again. But I did want to point out before we leave that this is all new and wonderful, but we still have the exhibit that you and I did in our previous show. That's still open to the public as well.
Correct. Yes, our award-winning exhibit downstairs is called Forging Ahead and Falling Behind. That's still open and will be for the next couple of years. So that's still there. Yeah, it's important to know this is an addition. This is not a change. This is something new.
In addition to, not instead of. Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
And then also to the distillery, the whiskey tasting is still going on.
Yes. So our distillery is still here. We're kind of adjusting the hours as the seasons are beginning to change. So I won't mention that, but just follow our website, which is westovertonvillage.org, for updates on the distillery hours. But we're doing tastings in there, bottle sales, and as I mentioned earlier, we're about to release a brand new whiskey.
Okay, awesome. And just folks, just keep checking out their website. They're always doing all kinds of different events and stuff here now. It's very nice what you're doing with the grounds and what you're doing just to reach out to the community. And like I said, there's a lot of things always going on, so keep checking their website.
Yeah, we definitely stay busy. There's events, it seems like every week we're doing something different. This year we introduced a program called Whiskey Wednesday, and that's the second Wednesday of the month, at least until October. We might extend that into the fall, maybe in here.
Oh, awesome.
And
okay.
Each month that's a different live musical act. It's different cocktails featured from West Overton Distilling. It's a different food truck, just to have another opportunity for folks to come out and gather and have a good time.
And it's very well received. I was here the one Wednesday. They get a very nice crowd, very low key, very nice bunch of people. And there's a food truck. You can really enjoy yourselves and have some good whiskey or a whiskey cocktail.
Yeah.
And also too, now people can still get tours of the house as well too, whenever they. Okay.
So when folks visit here, and our normal hours are Thursday through Sunday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tours of the historical homestead, which includes the Overholt House, the Spring House, which is the birthplace of Henry Clay Frick, and our out kitchen. Tours of that run on the hour. So typical admission will include the tour of the house, the exhibit downstairs, access to what we're able to have open up here, at the very minimum, the gallery, and being able to look inside some of these rooms. All of that's included with admission.
Okay, and last question, I promise. Okay. Rental information is also on your website as well, if somebody's interested in this or the barn or any of the other properties that you have.
Yes, it's on the website. They can call the number on the website, or they can email events@westovertonvillage.org.
Okay, awesome. All right. Well, thank you again. This has been great. This has been wonderful. It's great to see what you folks did here.
It's great to have you back.
This has been a project in the making for a while for you guys.
Yes, it sure was.
Okay, again, folks, I hope you enjoyed the show, and remember,
keep smiling,
keep dreaming, and keep watching.